think there's one question which has said that we have to do it in group. What is that question? Anyone? No, I'm talking about just now. In one of the groups. Okay, yes. Okay. Valid cognition, we are talking about the valid cognition. Thus far, although I did not say anything explicitly, but somehow people might get the impression that the conceptual mind is related to the subsequent cognizers. This is what some of the people might get the impression. Because we talked about the eye consciousness as a valid cognition, and the following, the conceptual mind perceiving the same flower as the subsequent cognizer. So from this, we may get that impression, but this is not a good impression. The idea is that even with the conceptual mind, we do find valid cognition. So in other words, valid cognition can be direct as well as conceptual. Direct mind, direct perception, as opposed to conceptual mind. Last time we talked about the word arahat as opposed to samsaric beings. The Buddhas as opposed to sentient beings. Then the Aryas as opposed to ordinary beings. Direct consciousness as opposed to conceptual mind. Okay, so these opposites. Direct consciousness, if it is a mind, if it is consciousness, it should be either direct consciousness or it should be a conceptual mind, one of these two. Now, going to the valid cognition. Valid cognition can be classified into two. Direct valid cognition and inferential valid cognition. Valid cognition, there are two. Direct valid cognition and inferential valid cognition, two. Inferential valid cognition is always conceptual. Inferential valid cognition is always conceptual. So conceptual doesn't mean it should be subsequent cognition. It can be the valid cognition. So valid cognition is classified into two. Direct valid cognition and inferential valid cognition. And for information, all inferential valid cognition should necessarily be conceptual. And all conceptual mind should necessarily be mistaken mind. So mistaken doesn't... Inferential cognition can be direct cognition, but it may not be, but it is always mistaken mind. Mistaken doesn't mean it is deceptive. It is not deceptive. Inferential valid cognition should be always non-deceptive because it is a valid cognition. Yet it can be mistaken mind. It is not deceptive, but it is mistaken. Okay, so we learned one thing, that valid cognition is of two kinds. What are they? Direct valid cognition and inferential valid cognition. And inferential valid cognition is always conceptual. And conceptual minds are always mistaken. How would you distinguish between these two minds, mistaken mind and deceptive mind? How would you distinguish between these two? Anybody? Raise your hands. Anybody? Very quick. We need to save time. Yes? Ian? Okay, through the mic. With the mic on. Okay.
So if it's mistake with respect to object appearance will be mistaken mind, if it's mistake with respect to object comprehension will be a deceptive mind.
Okay. A mind which is mistaken with respect to a mistaken mind. How would you define mistaken mind? A mind which is mistaken with respect to the object of appearance, that is mistaken mind. And how would you define deceptive mind? A mind which is mistaken with respect to the object of apprehension. Okay, so any mind which is mistaken with respect to mind which is mistaken with respect to object of apprehension is known as deceptive mind. In Tibetan it is known as Lokshe. Okay. So because the language, English words that we're using, we are simply borrowing the words. And there's some people may translate in the opposite way. What we translate as mistaken, they may translate as deceptive. What we translate deceptive, they may translate as the mistaken. So don't be too rigid with the English words, right? When somebody uses the deceptive mind, mistaken mind, be a good listener. Listen to the other person so well to see what the other person means by the deceptive mind or the mistaken mind. Whether he or she means deceptive by Lokshe or Tulsi checked it. You must know it thoroughly. Once you know that, then try to use the word according to the other person's the usage, not on the basis of how you use it. Okay, that's done. So now, where are we? Huh? No, which stanza? We finished that part. Huh? Okay, stanza 15, right? Okay. Now, let me quickly paraphrase what we did from stanza 11, 12, 13, 14. We'll quickly paraphrase. So the advocates of this agent, the creator agent, advocates of this, they try to give the reasons or the reasoning to prove the existence of such agent, such a creator, by saying they should produce some reasons. So what reason they produce? Okay, let me give one reason. Then Acharya Dharmakirti reject these. One, they say that the habitat and the inhabitants of the world. In other words, everything which is within the domain of the habitat and the inhabitants of the world as the topic, they are preceded by the they're preceded by a determining mind, meaning they are being created by the mind of the agent, creator God, because they have shapes, or because they are shapes, or they have shapes. Let's say, because they have shapes. Okay, this is one of the syllogism, this is one of the reasonings that they put, syllogism or reason they put. Now Acharya Dharmakirti, what he does is that when you say they have shapes, or they are shapes, shape, he analyzes the reason. Topic, what are the four components required for the reasoning? What are the four components required for the reasoning? The topic, the predicate, sign, and the illustration or the example. Now Acharya Dharmakirti analyzes the sign. When you say the shape, the sign, what do you mean by shape? The shape, the special shape, like this Chen Shui, the shape of the very special shape of the Chen Shui building, Chen Shui temple building, this beautiful one, or shape in general. Acharya Dharmakirti analyzes the reason, the sign. He analyzes the sign. Which shape do you mean? Okay, he analyzes the shape, the shape. If you say that the special shape, for example, like the shape of the building of Chen Shui temple, beautiful Chen Shui temple, then it's not true that all the objects of the universe, they have this special shape. For example, the ordinary pebble outside, it does not have a special shape. From this, you cannot infer that there is some special agent before. So, which means that this special shape is applicable only to, for example, the Chen Shui temple, the design, and such things, not to all objects. So, therefore, this. Okay. For this now, we have to. Very lucky. In 7 days, you're getting. Right? There's a very complicated part. Not really too complicated. It's easy, but we require more time and exercise. So this is a very special category. Right, okay. Okay, so now the reasoning, for the reasoning to be valid reasoning can be valid, reasoning can be invalid. A sound reasoning and non-sound reasoning, there are two. So what qualifies a reason to be a sound reasoning? What qualifies the reasoning to be invalid reasoning? For that, you have to check with what is known as three premises. The three premises. The first one is, okay, first I'll give you okay, to make it simple, let me see. The first premise is that we should work on these three of the four components. Don't forget the four components. What's the first one? Topic. What is the second? Predicate. What is the third? Sign. What is the fourth? Illustration, right? This is what? Day, which day? Day 2, right? Don't disclose this to the monks in the monastic universities. They'll feel envious. Because this is what they study for like minimum 2-3 years. And we are doing in 2 days. Right? They'll really feel envious. Okay. So we have to work on these 4 points. The topic, predicate, sign, and the illustration form. Of the 4, we focused on the first 3. Now, to be a sound reasoning, it requires 3 premises. The first one is that the topic should qualify the sign. The topic should qualify the sign. First note it down, then I'll explain each one of them. First, the topic should qualify the sign. In Tibetan, it is known as chokche. 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 That the topic is qualified as the sign. Chokche. C-H-O-K, C-H-O-E, C-H-O-E, C-H-O-K, C-H-O-E, chokche. The first premise. Second premise. People can translate it as the 3 premises or the 3 modes. Both are fine. 3 modes or 3 premises. The first premise, the first mode is chokche, where the topic should qualify the sign. Number 2, Jacob. J-A-Y, Jacob, J-A-Y, K-H, okay, K-H-Y-A-B, K-H-Y-A-B, Jacob. Jacob is whatever qualifies the sign should qualify the predicate. Don't worry, I'll explain each one of them. Whatever qualifies the sign should qualify the predicate. This is Jacob. Whatever qualifies the sign, S-I-G-N, sign should qualify the predicate. Number 3, Dokyab, D-H-O-G or D-H-O-K. D-H-O-K, Kyab is same. Jacob, Dokyab, Kyab is the same. K-H-Y-A-B. D-H-O-K, Dok, K-H-Y-A-B, Dokyab. Okay, tell me, in Tibetan, what are the 3 modes? Chokche, Jacob, Dokyab. Very good. Okay, now we are yet to understand what the Dokyab is. Dokyab is whatever does not qualify the predicate, should not qualify the sign. Whatever does not qualify the predicate should not qualify the sign. Okay. Now, for a reasoning to be sound, for reasoning to be valid, correct reasoning, it must fulfill these 3 modes or these 3 premises. If any of the 3 premises is missing or not fulfilled, that reasoning is not sound reasoning. You getting it? Okay, now I'll explain. For example, okay, even if you are not exposed to the logic, studied logic, the way we are doing now, but I'll give you some examples. From there, you will see that something is wrong, or is with the what is wrong. You can say that this is something is wrong there. You can see it easily. Okay, I'll give you some examples. Okay, let's say that person A as a topic is a very good person as the predicate. Person A as a topic is a very good person because he is a human being. Is it a sound reasoning or not sound reasoning? Okay, how many you see that this is not really sound reason? Raise your hands. Okay, what about those who did not raise your hands? Okay, let me see this again. Those who did not raise your hands, you think about it, whether it's sound or not sound. Person A is extremely good person because he is a person. Because he is a person. Is this a good reason, you think, or is not a good reason? No. Okay, raise your hands who said no, it's not a good reason. Raise your hands. Okay, almost all of us. Okay, now, why it is not a good reason? Why it's not a good reason? What do you think? Why it is not a good reason? Wandinla? Oh, very good. Then I said that this person is a very good person because he is a human being. It's not necessary that all human beings should be good, right? So what I'm saying is that all human beings is good. This is the wrong reason. Okay, you know this. Okay, now let's say person A is wonderful person, amazing person because he is a flower. Is it a good reason or not good reason? Why not good reason? Anyone? Person is not a flower. Very good. Okay, very good. Okay. Now, so two of you, the Wang Denla and the CJ, these two put together, we understand the three modes. Okay. What CJ said, in the case of the CJ, what example did I give? What reason did I give? The whole reason. Thus, a person A as the topic is a very good person as a predicate because he's a flower. In which case, what is the topic? The person A. What is the sign? Flower. If it fulfills the first premise, chokchu, then the person A should be a flower. The topic should qualify the sign. Sign is the flower. The topic is the person A. Person A should be the sign, which is a flower. Person A should be flower. It's not the case. So therefore, this reasoning does not fulfill the first premise. If it doesn't fulfill the first premise, finish. There's no room to check if it is valid, if it is already invalid. One. Okay. Now, the reason which I said person A is very good person because he is a human being. Because he is a human being. Is he a human being or not? Okay, tell me. This reasoning, which reasoning? Person A as a topic is a very good person because he is a human being. This reasoning, does it fulfill the first mode, chokche? Huh? It fulfills the first mode. Hey, be confident. Say yes. Right? When I say, are you sure? Right? Then your faith shakes. Right? It must be wrong. Be confident. Okay. Person A is a very good person because he's a human being. Does this reasoning or the syllogism fulfill the first mode? Yes. How does it fulfill? Because the topic fulfills the sign. How? The person A is human being. Very good. Okay. Now this syllogism, does it fulfill the second mode? Huh? What is the second mode? Jacob. Jacob. What is Jacob? Whatever qualifies the sign should qualify the predicate, which means in this case, whatever is the human being should be a very good human being, which is not true. So therefore, it doesn't fulfill the second mode. You're getting it? It fulfills the first mode, but it doesn't fulfill the second mode. Okay, now one secret that I like to share with you, again because of the 7 days, right? That if it fulfills the second mode, it automatically fulfills the third mode, right? If it fulfills the third mode, it automatically fulfills the second mode. Okay, now I give you one example. This flower as the topic is impermanent because it changes. This flower is impermanent because it changes, because it withers. Is this a valid, is it a good syllogism? Or is it a good reasoning? This flower is impermanent because it withers. Is it good reasoning? Okay, you don't just say yes, no, or don't be hesitant. Just check if it fulfills the three modes. And for you to make it easier, 7 days, you see if it fulfills the first and second. Does it fulfill the first mode? What? Yes. Huh? This flower is impermanent because it withers. Huh? Do you agree or not? What is the first mode? Chokche. What is chokche? The topic should fulfill the sign. So in this case, what is the topic fulfilling the sign? The flower withers. Does it wither or not? Yes. So it fulfills the first mode. Very good. Does it fulfill the second mode? What is the second mode? Jacob. What is Jacob? Whatever is the sign should qualify the predicate. In this case, whatever withers should be impermanent. Do you agree with that? Whatever withers, should it be impermanent? Yeah, so it fulfills the second mode as well. If it fulfills second mode, automatically it fulfills the third mode. So it fulfills the three modes. What fulfills the three modes? That is a valid syllogism or valid reasoning. Very good. Okay, now going back, now the advocates of this agent, the creative agent, what they say is they come up with the syllogism. They come up with the reasoning to prove that such agent does exist. Such an agent which knows all phenomena, omniscient, as well as which creates all phenomena. It exists. How they prove it? They say that all the objects within the domain, of the habitat and the inhabitants of the universe as the topic. In other words, everything in the universe as the topic. They are preceded by the determining mind, which means the determined mind of the creator agent creator mind, because they are shape or they have shape. Let's say they have shape. They give this reason. Do you think that is good reason? No. Okay, simply because it is rejected by Acharya Dharmakirti. Okay, so to say there is not a good reason, first you have to give yourself a little time. First you have to say, give me time. I will work on what? 3 modes. I'll see if the 3 modes work there. Okay, now Acharya Dharmakirti, what he did is that he analyzed the sign. Right? Say, I am the advocate of the creative agent. Then you are you are either Acharya Dharmakirti, or let's say the Changyab is Acharya Dharmakirti. Right? And all of us, you are the follower of Acharya Dharmakirti. So what you are saying, you analyze the sign, which I said that everything that exists in the universe, they are preceded by the determining mind because they are shape or they have shape. Then you analyze the shape. Which shape you are talking about? Special shape or the shape in general? Then if I say, oh, the special shape, then if you say now, I modified the syllogism by saying that everything that exists in this universe, they are preceded by the determining mind of the agent, created agent, because they have a special shape. Okay, is it a good reason or not? Not good reason. Tell me which of the three premises doesn't follow? Huh? Second one. Okay. The special shape, like the shape of the building of Chen Shui Temple. Look at it. You can guarantee say that there is a preceding mind. You can say this. So therefore, whatever qualifies the sign qualifies the predicate. That is fine. So what's wrong with this syllogism? The first one. How the first one is not fulfilled? Not all phenomena should have this special shape. Right? For example, okay, can you give me something which doesn't have a special shape? Okay, we just randomly pick up a pebble from the road. Pick up a pebble from the road. It does not have a special shape. Right? Just by seeing this, oh, there must be a mind which preceded this. No, we cannot say this. So therefore, it's not that, no, what I'm saying is that it's not that the spatial shape is with all the phenomena. Some phenomena have special shape, but not all phenomena have special shape. You agree with me? So it does not fulfill the first criteria. So therefore it says 11. Okay, let's say it doesn't fulfill the first criterion. If the first criterion is not mode is not fulfilled, we call it is unestablished. It is unestablished, meaning the topic to be the sign is not established, because that topic is not the sign. Topic, everything to be the special shape is not true. So topic to be the sign is not established. So we call it is not established. Now, if you say, no, it's not a special, it's the shape in general. Shape in general. Then what's the problem? If I say that everything that exists in this universe, they are preceded by the determining mind because they have shape. They have shape, right? And to make it very precise, everything which has shape, right? Everything which has shape must be preceded by a determining mind because they have shape. What's the problem? Is it good syllogism? Right? Because this is not approved by Acharya Dharmakirti. Right? So which of the three modes is not fulfilled or are not fulfilled? Second one. How not the second? Because something having a shape, something having a shape does not necessarily mean that it should have the preceding, determining mind. You're getting it? For example, Chen Shui Temple shape, special shape, you look at, oh, the architect's mind must be brilliant. We can infer that. But any shape, right? A shape just randomly coming to being as a shape, it does not have the special shape, because of which from this we cannot infer the preceding determining mind. So that is, we call it, it does not fulfill the second mode. So this is what we call as, it is uncertain. Uncertain, or no pervasion. The better word would be no pervasion. No pervasion meaning something which has the shape does not necessarily have the preceding determining mind. No pervasion. Which means it does not fulfill the second mode. As simple as that. You're getting it? Okay. Now, what is the basic syllogism that the advocates of the created God put in this context? Just tell me. Hey, everything that exists in this universe, or if you want to put it properly, say the everything of the habitat and the inhabitants of the universe. Universe as the topic. They are preceded by determining mind because they have a shape. Okay, let's say they have a shape. This is a basic syllogism that the advocates of the created God provided to Acharya Dharmakirti. Then Acharya Dharmakirti, what he did is, he analyzed the sign. No? Sign, when you say shape, which shape do you want, which shape you mean? The special shape or the shape in general? Two. If you say special shape, then it doesn't fulfill the first mode. If you say the general shape, it does not fulfill the second mode. You're getting it? Okay. Okay. Now, if this is how Acharya Dharmakirti rejects the advocates of the created God, when they produce this reasoning, then, okay, let's say, okay, this flower is impermanent because it is a product. It's a good reasoning or a valid reasoning or not valid reasoning. This flower is impermanent because it is a product. Valid reason. Okay. If it is valid reason, then just as Acharya Dharmakirti analyzed this sign, I will also analyze the sign. What's the sign? Hey, what's the sign? Product. This flower as the topic is impermanent as the predicate because it is a product. This flower as the topic, it is impermanent as the predicate because it is a product as a sign. So I can analyze this sign. What is the sign? The product. The product, which product you are talking about? Product meaning something which is the nature of the result. Nature of what is produced by something. Nature of the result produced by something else. So this product, what product are you talking about? Product, the flower is the product of the flower, meaning the flower is the product, or the non-flower is the product. The product should be only these two, right? Flower is the product, or the non-flower is the product. This is only two choice. So which you are talking about? Which product? Both. Wow, that's amazing. You are very courageous. Right? You don't know where you are ending up, but you jump to save Acharya Dharmakirti. Right? Product. Which product? The product in the sense of the flower is the product, or the product in the sense of the non-flower is the product? Which product are you talking about? Flower is the product. If you say the flower is the product, there's a problem. Then, simply by knowing the second premise, you have already deduced the conclusion. Meaning that, okay, what's the final aim of this reasoning? Is to know that the flower is impermanent. So this is the thesis. This is the conclusion. This conclusion must be drawn only after the three premises being fulfilled. So what's the second premise? Whatever fulfills the sign should fulfill the predicate. What is the sign? Not the product now. The flower is the product. Right? Whatever fulfills the flower is the product should be impermanent. This should be the second mode. If this is the second mode, what I said is what? The flower is impermanent because it's a product. Then I analyze the sign. So the product can be only two. Product, the flower is the product, or the non-flower is the product. Which you're talking about? Flower is the product. If you talk about the flower is the product, then you have to modify this. The flower is impermanent because flower is the product. This should be your syllogism. If this is syllogism, then when you fulfill the second mode, what is second mode? Whatever qualifies this flower as the product should be impermanent. Flower as a product should be impermanent. When you know that, you already know the flower is impermanent. That is the thesis. So by knowing the second premise, you already know the thesis. Ideally, for a good reasoning, the thesis must be known only after knowing the three modes. So here, knowing the second mode, you already know the thesis. So this is not a good syllogism. Right? Okay, now tell me, the flower is impermanent because it's a product. Is it a good syllogism, bad syllogism? Huh? Not good. Now you cannot give any good syllogism because I will keep analyzing the sign. The moment I analyze the sign, you cannot give the sound syllogism or sound reasoning, right? This is a very good syllogism actually. The flower is impermanent because it is product. This is such a good reasoning, and you are saying that it's not a good reasoning. This is what Acharya Dharmakirti will never say. Right? Okay, what's the problem? The problem is that I analyze the reasoning. I analyze the reasoning. I make flower product. Product is something which can be with the flower, which can be without the flower, and which is on both sides also. Yes? But I push you to accept either the product, the flower is the product, or the non-flower is the product. I give you only two choices when I analyze this. But I did not give you the choice, the product which can pervade both sides. But the product per se is not confined to these two. It's something which can pervade both as well. What is that? Product per se. Product per se is the one which is applicable to the flower, which is applicable to non-flowers, which is applicable to both. You getting it? So therefore, the moment you analyze the sign, then the reason, although it is a sound reason, you cannot posit it as a sound reason. Not because that this is not a sound reason, it's because of you analyzing the sign. Now if you do that, then Acharya Dharmakirti rejected the opponent's syllogism by analyzing the sign. You're getting it? If this is allowed for Acharya Dharmakirti, the opponent is also allowed to analyze your sign. Then you'll be also in a problem. You're getting it? Okay, let's read this. Stanza 15. The result, production. Production means the product. The result product. So don't forget this. Flower is impermanent because it is a product. You're getting it? The result, production, or the product, which pervades both the topics. Both the topics meaning it pervades the topic. What's the topic? The flower. The product is applicable to the flower. Flower is the product. Yes, and the product is applicable to non-flowers also. Both meaning the flower and non-flower. Both the topics. So this is a little confusing. Topics does not necessarily mean the topic in the case of the four components. Topic in the context of the four components. Topic meaning the two things, the flower and the non-flower. In generic, when applied to affirm the thesis, when you say the flower is impermanent because it's a product, you did not say that because it is the product in the form of the flower is a product. You do not say this. You just say the product in general. You do not say the product, the flower is the product, the non-flower is the product. You do not specify. Right? You don't specify the product. You just said the product in general. Meaning, when in generic meaning in general, you just said what? The flower is impermanent because it's a product. You do not say it's the flower is the product. You do not say this. You just said the product, which is a very generic thing. Generic meaning it is applicable to all the products. It's very generic. Okay. Generic when applied to affirm the thesis, when applied to prove the thesis. What thesis? What is the thesis? The flower to be impermanent. That the flower is impermanent is the thesis. To prove that, what sign did you use? The product in general. Product in general. You said it's a product. You just said product. You do not say the flower as the product. The product of the flower. Okay, product, actually it should be the product of the flower, but I do not say this. Why I do not say this is that product of the flower has another connotation. Flower as the cause and the product of the flower. You getting it? Or the product of the milk. Milk as the cause and the cheese and so forth as the product. So this is cause effect. Whereas product of the cause, for example, let's say the hand, body of Dorji. Body of Dorji means Dorji and body, these two are together. Dorji has the body. You're getting it? Okay. The color of the flower, which means the color and the flower, these two are simultaneous. Right? The flower as the characteristic of the flower. Color as the characteristic of the flower. Color of the flower. Likewise, the product of the flower. Product of the flower. Product as the characteristic and the flower as the characterized. Which means the flower is a product. It can mean both. Product of the flower, it can mean both. That the flower is product and the flower as the cause and gives rise to the product. Both can be understood. So we can get confused between these two things. Product of the flower means that the flower is a product, is one understanding, and the flower as the cause gives rise to the product. This is the second connotation. So to not to confuse us, I said the flower as a product. Okay, so with this, what we are saying is that they say the flower is impermanent because it is a product. So there, I put the product in general or I put this product in specific. I put the product in general. If I put the product in general, then it works perfectly well as a good syllogism, good reasoning. The moment I put the product, made it specific, product of the flower, meaning the flower is the product, then the complication arises. So therefore, what is advice? Don't analyze the sign. If you're not to analyze the sign, but Acharya Chandrakirti analyzed the sign and rejected the opponent. So you are allowed to analyze the sign, and we are not allowed to analyze the sign. This is unfair. So if you, by analyzing my sign and I'm put into trouble, you are also in trouble. We are the same. You're getting it? Okay, let's read this, stanza 15. The result product which pervades both the topics in generic when applied to affirm the thesis. Do you understand this? Let me say this again. The result product, the product which pervades both the things, which means which pervades the flower as well as the non-flower. But when this product in general, although it pervades both, but in general, when you apply this as the reason to affirm the thesis, what is the thesis? The flower to be impermanent. And then how to apply the product as the reason to affirm it? Flower is impermanent because it is a product. Okay, in general, product. Now, rejecting on the basis that since the related objects are distinct. So look, the product pervades the flower and the non-flower. Yes? Yes. So the flower and non-flower, these two are two distinct objects. Yes? And the product is related to both. The product is related to the flower as well as non-flower is related to both. And these two things, flower and non-flower, these two are two distinct objects. Right? Rejecting on the basis that since the related objects are distinct, meaning this product is related to the two objects. Which two objects? The flower and the non-flower, two of which are distinct themselves. The production as the reason should be different. Then I say that, okay, product, which product? There are two products. Product of the flower, product of non-flower, which meaning the flower is the product, non-flower is the product. Of the two, which do you mean? Then I try to, production as the reason should be different. Production as the reason should be different, meaning that when you say, because it's a product, then I say that this product should not be left as a product. It must be, you must specify which product. Product of the flower or product of non-flower. These two should be different. If I split, if I analyze the sign, the production or the product as a reason should be different, should be split into two. Product of the flower as the product, or the non-flower as the product. If you split like this and then you put the other side on problem, you challenge the other person with this kind of criticism. It's a criticism known as similar results or similar consequence. What similar consequence? If you reject my syllogism by analyzing this sign and saying that the product should not be left as a product, right? It should be either the product of the flower or the product of the non-flower. If you analyze like this and put me into problem, I will put you also into the problem with the same analysis. So we are both in problems. So the consequence that you are putting me into is the same consequence you also have to go through. So it is known as the similar results or the similar consequences. So this kind of analysis, this kind of rejection is known as the criticism or rejection with a similar consequence. Just as you reject mine, you put me into consequence, you also will face the same consequence. I can put you in the same problem with the same analysis. Okay. Now Acharya Dharmakirti has to give the answer. Hey, you have to give the answer. Right? You have to say that, no, these two are different. Right? So the advocates of the created God, what they said is that, okay, all the phenomena as the topic, they are preceded by the determining mind of the creator agent because they have a shape. Then Acharya Dharmakirti analyzed the sign, the shape. Which sign? Which shape you are talking about? Which shape? Shape, special shape, or the shape in general? You analyze this. And then put them into problem. Right? If you say special shape, it doesn't fulfill the first mode. If you say the shape in general, it doesn't fulfill the second mode. If you don't fulfill any of these three modes, it is not a good syllogism. It's not valid reasoning. If this is how Acharya Dharmakirti rejected, then when the Acharya Dharmakirti and the Buddhists try to prove to the opponents that the self is impermanent, self is not permanent. Opponents, they say that self is impermanent. So self is permanent, right? Opponents. There are many philosophers, many traditions who believe that the person itself is permanent. And the Acharya Dharmakirti and the Buddhists, they say the self is impermanent. So Acharya Dharmakirti is to prove, okay, the self is impermanent because, hey, Acharya Dharmakirti's followers, hey, self, the person or the self is impermanent because the self is a product, because it is a product. Then they will challenge you. Which product? Product of the self or the product of the non-self? Which product? Tell me. Hey, Acharya Dharmakirti followers. Which product? Self? If you say the product of the self, then it doesn't fulfill the second mode. Second mode should be fulfilled in such a way that it is fulfilled and the thesis is not established yet. But the moment you establish the second mode, the thesis is established. So it doesn't fulfill the second mode. If you say the product of the non-person, then it doesn't fulfill the first premise. So therefore, this is not a good reason, right? You're also in a consequence. So we are both in a similar situation, right? We're both having the similar consequence, similar result. So how would you defend? Hey, Moi, how would you defend Acharya Dharmakirti's followers? Hey, what happened? Okay, we need to think about it. Okay. Luckily, this is written by Acharya Dharmakirti. Don't worry, there's answer. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. This is a little complicated part, so therefore it took us whole one session. This stanza 15. You got it? Okay, we'll stop here. Oh, yes.
Ask about the Acharya Dharmakirti's rejection of the shape in general.
Yes, yes.
Can't the opponents argue that all the shapes are predetermined or preceded by determination?
Okay, very good point. Say the Acharya Dharmakirti, when he analyzed this sign, by saying which shape you are talking about, the special shape or the shape in general. If you say shape in general, then Acharya Dharmakirti says that it doesn't fulfill the second mode. But then the man is saying that, but the opponents will say that no, it fulfills the second mode. That anything which has a shape should necessarily be preceded by a determining mind. A mind of the creative agent should have designed that shape. So how would you defend it? So if you could remember, example is not found. You remember from earlier, we have to bring that here. Example is not found. Without giving an example, right? You just say something, it is just words, it doesn't help. In other words, in the modern science, when a scientist comes with a theory, it should have, first the theory is the proposed. It must be supported by mathematical calculation for the physics. It must be supported by the mathematical calculation. With these two things intact, still the theory is not verified. Then it must be finally seen. There must be example there. Experimentally, it should be shown. You're getting it? Experimentally, it must be shown that it really works that way. So likewise, there must be example to say that, look at this example. From this example, we can see that whatever shape should necessarily be preceded by the determining mind. For example, Buddhist philosophers will say that this flower is impermanent because it is a product. Look at the last moment of the burning flame. Last moment of the burning flame is a product or not? It's a product of the fuel or the oil. When the oil finishes, the last moment of the burning flame will extinguish. Right? That is impermanent. Is permanent is a product. Is impermanent. We can see one object there, visibly seen one object, which fulfills the being a product as well as being impermanent. Whereas, what example do you have to tell me that this is a shape which is created by the preceding mind of the creative agent, so that I can apply this to all others? Where example do you have? Okay. Any more questions? Okay, if not, we'll stop here.